Hello and welcome back to Energetically You. I'm your host, Megan Swan. I am a wellness and mindset coach. I specialize in designing custom, approachable wellness lifestyles for ambitious women. My jam is helping women optimize their wellness through plant-based nutrition, movement, mindfulness, and mindset so that they feel more confident and magnetic energy in their own skin. I have a background as a certified health coach, plant-based chef, detox expert, and yoga teacher with over 10 years of integrated wellness experience. Here on the podcast, I often interview people and we talk about all things that influence your energy, healthy habits, mindset, all those things. And I'm going to be getting back to a few more episodes that's just me talking about a topic that I think is really potent and relevant to the time of year. So today I'm going to be talking about how to have magnetic energy. For me, the takeaway here is what is having more magnetic energy. I personally look at it from this standpoint. You have magnetic energy when you exude 100% comfort and confidence in your own skin. Now, sounds great, right? But what does that mean? How do we get to that point? What is the process? So that's what I wanted to talk about today. First off, really from my own personal experience, I think there are aspects, layers of this process to feel more magnetic and comfortable, confident in our own skin. There are physical ways that you need to be feeling this on a physical level, an emotional level, a mental level, and a spiritual level. So essentially, it comes down to radical self-acceptance of all of your shadows, experiences, and stories. So that might be another thing that we get into another day. Really, it is so powerful to understand how the stories we tell ourselves work, and ultimately that you are in control. You have the power to rewrite the stories that you tell yourself, about your experiences, about your past, about others, all those things. So having more magnetic energy is really a deeper inner knowing, a trust, a confidence in this inner knowing that you control the narrative. So you decide, you design, you are in control of what is important, what are you allowing energetically to influence your own view of yourself. And as women, we of course have multiple layers of other people's opinions, industries, society, cultural norms, all these things, our own family situation, family narrative of what it means to be beautiful, what it means to be successful, what it means to be a woman, what it means, maybe it's something negative, or you've been brought up that it's something negative to be overly confident and outspoken, all those things. So it's like peeling back the layers to understand where did we get some of these feelings, and how, understanding that when something becomes a belief, first it becomes a thought, eventually becomes a belief. And when it becomes a belief, it often becomes a part of our identity. And there is where it requires a little bit more deep work to understand how we came to form the identity that we currently have, how we currently see ourselves when we look in the mirror, or how we currently stand. What's our posture? What's our stance, literally, physically, but also emotionally, spiritually, mentally, on everything. But really, we're honing in today on how you view yourself, because when you fully, truly love and accept yourself, and all of your deepest, darkest secrets, all of the decisions that you had to make over your life, and you bring all that in and use it. You can either take it in as is, or you can transmute it. You can change that energy into something positive, the fire that fuels you to do what you really want to do in this life. And when you get to that point, anything that comes at you, anything that comes down the pipeline, you have this new perspective and this new system in which to either completely disallow it from entering your energetic being, or through boundaries, of course, right? Or maybe you need to consider it, you need to address it, but it doesn't need to topple you over like maybe it would have in the past, before you felt this next level confidence in who you are, what's important to you, what are your values, and what is your purpose on this earth. So essentially, you decide. Nothing can dim your light without your permission. So I'm talking about how to feel more confident in your own skin. And obviously, it's a process. Transformation of this kind happens in layers, as I mentioned, not all at once. So there's a certain amount of patience and process involved. And I'll say it's more like a marathon. It's not a quick fix. It's, I would say, motivating, because you see the shifts. When you see the shifts, even though they're tiny sometimes, you start reacting better to things, or you don't react, you respond. You feel more in control of yourself, your life, your emotions, your mind, and it's so empowering. So, like most things, we see quick fixes, and then, or when we don't see quick fixes and we don't feel like things are materializing, we can give up. And maybe we give up to start like a different strategy on the same problem. And essentially, you're just like repeating the process of getting nowhere. Instead of really, truly finding a process, having some discipline, the root of the word discipline is disciple. So it's becoming a beginner, having a beginner mindset in allowing like a totally fresh new perspective, which, let's face it, when you're in my stage of life, I'm 42, it's hard to really tease out some of these layers of where we have come to form our opinions, our values, our beliefs, and ultimately our identity as a whole. It's a process. Okay. So I think what I wanted to point out there is it's a marathon. It's about finding the right person, the right guidance, someone that can be that, what am I trying to say? It's like a person that's outside of your life. A lot of these things I think that we talk about in terms of mindset and wellness coaching, many women maybe think to themselves, well, I've got girlfriends for that. Like I have soundboards, I have, social support. And like, I would argue that is even more important these days when we're increasingly disconnected with the reality of technology. We need to double down on our social networks and really having maybe fewer, but more real, raw, intimate, platonic relationships, connection I'm a woman. So with other women, it doesn't have to always be with other women. It could be with a trusted male confidant as well, but that is important. But usually those types of people are not entirely impartial because they've known you your whole life. It's hard for them to like really stand outside and see like what's going on. If they're in sort of the nitty gritty of your daily life, it's harder for them to be 100% impartial. And sometimes we need some tough love. Sometimes we need someone to compassionately point out maybe the obvious or maybe the not so obvious things, the patterns, the blind spots that we all have. So which layer should you start with? I think we are culturalized and socialized, especially as women, but really in general these days, in our highly media focused to focus on the physical layer first. And I'm just going to give my brief opinion on the pros and cons of doing that. So I think it is definitely a very good way of feeling more confident in your own skin is to work on the outer layer, if you will. But it really, really, truly needs to be accompanied by work on the other layers, or it's not going to be something that is holistic for you spiritually, emotionally, mentally. So what am I talking about? I'm meaning, maybe you get your nails done. Maybe you get some new makeup. Maybe you get a haircut. Maybe you start going to the gym and you physically look better and you're physically stronger. I would argue like that's one thing that really on a more integrated level helps us feel more confident is to start getting physically stronger and also balance that out to have more flexibility, because there's really is something, I'm from the yoga world, I'm a movement specialist. There's really something truly powerful of the relationship between mind, body, soul. So you physically start getting stronger, you can like more easily pick up things, maybe your children, maybe, suitcases, maybe whatever. Or when you start working on your abs and you realize that you're already like sitting up taller, you're more in alignment, your crown of your head is higher, and you just feel more powerful because you're physically stronger in your core. That is an essential layer. And some people work on the emotional stuff. We tend to have a preference. We either like, going to see a psychologist, and we work on all the emotional, the mental stuff, and then we maybe don't focus so much on the physical, or people are highly focused on the physical and don't necessarily do all the nitty-gritty work to get everything else in alignment. So if you really want your shift in confidence to be tangible and permanent, it needs to be multi-layer focused. And I don't know if it's just being a part of being over 40 or it's just a coincidence that really like 2 years before I turned 40, I started this deep work on myself. But I just don't give FUCKS is about much anymore. Like it really, I feel so much more empowered and control of my response to things. I still get thrown off, I get sidetracked sometimes by interactions with other people that really like make me question what I'm doing or who I am. Basically that I've given too much weight, I've given too much power to a situation or a person to totally shift how I see myself. So I think when we're in our 20s and 30s, we just gave all that power away. Number one, we're letting, magazines tell us how we should look. We're more inspired by what anybody else is saying and doing than listening to our interior, right? So I think it's a little bit about age and maturity, but not necessarily, because I've met some really grounded, mature, enlightened, dare I say, 20 and 30-year-olds. But I'm more talking about my personal experience, that it was right around my late 30s that I started to have this shift, this next level confidence. And I will say it's really only been after this last year where I have invested in myself on a whole other level and really learned the mindset piece, like on how to do this work, to use these tools again and again, because you do the work, but like working out, like it's not like you do a bunch of mindset work and then you're good. No, it's a practice. It's like a thing you need to do. It's like whack-a-mole, it's like first perfectionism pops up, and then it's imposter syndrome, and then it's just another kind of self-doubt, or feeling less than, feeling not worthy for maybe the success, the acknowledgement you are getting, all these things. It's like you deal with one and then another one pops up. So it's about your recovery time, similar to when you start working out consistently. You get so strong that, if you get sick and need to take a week off, it's no big deal. In fact, you might come back stronger because your body had all that time to to work, but it's not like you work out for 3 months and then you're good for life. No, my dears, no. The mindset piece is, it's a process, but it's getting to love the process like anything, and finding the right connection of community. And I would recommend a coach. Obviously, I'm partial, but I definitely can tell you that the best coaches have coaches. And I have had many coaches. I'm currently working with 2 at the moment. I'm always happy to share that information if you want more details, but I won't take up time on this podcast for that. What I will take a brief moment to mention is that I am in the process of filling seats. Beautiful, beautiful women that are interested in joining us in Align and Shine. Align and Shine is a hybrid coaching program. So it's 1/3 one-on-one coaching with me. We dive deep into the limiting the beliefs, what's holding you back, what's impacting you negatively. Some of the women inside Align and Shine are more working on feeling less depressed about certain things and having a better reaction time to be more positive about all of their life goals. Others are more anxious, like their fear of what may or may not happen is what holds them back more than their point of view of the world. So sorry, I got off track. So 1/3 one-on-one coaching where we go deep one-on-one, then 1/3 group coaching where you have a really powerful network of like-minded women that are working on this together. It is so powerful. And I can tell you from my experience in being in multiple coaching containers over the past couple of years, it's so inspiring to be in these groups together, to see that you're doing the same thing, you're working on similar things, that other women are getting results. It really, even if it's not the exact same story of like that you're dealing with, there are so many similarities, and you can always learn from other people's experience, even though it's not the exact same situation that you're in. And let's be honest, many times I've been in these containers and I'm having some self-doubt about something I need to do in my business. And then I'll see on this call that there's someone with, way less experience, knowledge, resources, and they're killing it. So it's all about like just constantly keeping perspective, like where you are, and that seeing what is possible. It just opens your eyes to what is possible. So 1/3 one-on-one coaching, 1/3 this powerful soul sister tribe of like-minded women in it with you, and 1/3 guest experts. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited about the guest experts inside Align and Shine. This is the second time I'm running it, so I'm affectionately referring to it as Align and Shine 2.0. Its tagline is embodiment. Last round was really focusing all on mindset. And so all of the mindset piece is there. There is an Align and Shine platform where you are going to have access to 6 modules and all of the knowledge that you need to work through these things. And then we also work through them together, one-on-one. We work on them in the group. And then each week, in fact, it's 3 out of 4 weeks a month, that we're going to have a guest expert. And this round, we're really focusing on embodiment. So these experts are experts in embodiment, whether it's from a tantric coach, a trauma-informed coach, a pelvic floor educator specialist. We have dancers who are focusing on the nuances of tuning and just like really special ways to reframe our relationship and like an actual understanding and embodiment, meaning like you feel this shift inside your body. It's a physical shift first, and then it becomes so powerful because you have all of the mindset work to back it up. So that's all I'll say for now about Align and Shine. If you're at all interested, please send me a direct message on Instagram at Megan Swan Wellness, or you can email me, meganswanwellness@gmail.com, or check it out on the website, meganswanwellness.com/align shine. And I'll post that in the show notes as well. So about the work, it really depends on where your limiting beliefs are. So I've had a few clients that really their limiting beliefs were around their physical looks. Like they really struggled to get out of the rinse and repeat diet mentality of like, I do whatever the fuck I want, and then I kind of pay for it by being really well behaved for a month or 3, and then I do whatever the heck I want again. And so whether it be like certain kind of food or drinking more or not exercising, it's like just getting into this they're in a rinse and repeat cycle of love my body and my mind, body, soul. Don't love my mind, body, soul so much. It's like this really, it's a narrative we've been sold because it works to fuel the multi-billion-dollar diet industry. They don't want you to have a sustainable, integrated approach to health and wellness, because then you don't need all of these products. You don't need these trends. You don't need this constantly renewed version of, like, really and truly, if someone is telling you that a one-size-fits-all solution will work for you, run the other way. There is no one-size-fits-all. We are so different. There is no one-size-fits-all solution, and sure as heck not for the deepest, most profound spiritual, mental, emotional mindset work and wellness that we do, that one needs to do to have this next level confidence be, again, tangible and permanent for you. Okay, so we so like I said, it really depends on what your limiting beliefs are, where you really feel or are the most disconnected with yourself, or maybe your loved ones, your career, or your environment, or with what are you consuming? Are you totally disconnected with the relationship between what you are consuming? And if you know me, when I say what you're consuming, it's not just what you're eating and maybe drinking. I'm talking about, what are you reading? Who are you spending time with? What is the media you are consuming? What kind of music are you listening to? All of those things really impact you on an energetic level and start to inform your idea of who you are and what is possible. And I can tell you from my own personal experience, as you start peeling back these layers, you have epiphany after epiphany that what you thought was possible for yourself is so small in comparison to what you are really fucking capable of. So it won't work to try and change everything at the same time. Back to the whole rinse and repeat diet culture. That all fuels off of our love, or this, again, idea we've been sold about that there's a pill, there's a quick fix. You just do this for 21 days. You just do this for 7 days and your whole life is going to change. Yeah, your whole life will change for those 7 days. But as soon as you stop doing the thing, you're back to square one, or potentially worse, because you keep doing that and it screws up your metabolism and it gets harder and harder to drop those pounds. And it gets harder and harder to feel good about yourself, mind, body, and soul deep. So it needs to be gradual so that you build on your ability to hold more. And don't think of that as like an overwhelm of stress of things you have to hold. No, think of it as like a mind, body, soul expansion on what you can hold. So looking at like what is possible for you. I will say, like, there's a difference between like just hustling it, ride or die type mentality. And then the true reality of when, I'm sure you've had this different times in your life where, you get used to working 4-hour days for whatever reason, because you're on holiday maybe. And then you go back to working 8 and it's like quite a shock to the system. But once you get certain systems in place, whether it be in your place of work or in your home, it takes away the overwhelm because you get efficient about certain things. So that's what happens when you very gradually make these shifts in your wellness, in your mindset, in your identity. it doesn't seem like this shock to the system. It just seems like, oh, this is the little thing that I'm kind of playing with, that I'm kind of working on. And then I don't need to, like, there's not another added layer of stress or overwhelm because I'm like changing everything at the same time. So by building your capacity to go even deeper, really, in your honesty with yourself, your awareness, and then your ability to truly make long-term shifts. So a big part of it is about finding your why. Like, what is the reason that you, not your husband, not your mother, not your child, not you from 20 years ago, like you today, what is your reason? What is your number one or maybe top 3 motivators as to why you want to make this shift for the rest of your life? Like, why do you want to become a better human? Because it really can't be for anyone else. The number one reason has to be some inner motivating reason for yourself. So for me, I kind of have a couple, but like number one that started me on this path that of course have had this ripple effect was being a mother and like not willing to repeat a lot of the patterns that I grew up with. And I won't get into the details, but I knew that I wanted to be A, not repeating those patterns, and B, I had kids kind of late, not that late, like 35, but I want to be here as long as possible. And just the way that society is going, like everyone's having children later and later and later, like who knows when my sons are going to have families. I want to be a grandmother. I want to be a healthy grandmother. I want to be an inspiring grandmother. I want to be here for the long haul and feel amazing and be healthy. So I'm interested in my health span, not just my lifespan. And I'm interested in my current quality of life. I want to feel fucking amazing every day. I don't want to feel like I'm dragging my ass out of bed. I want to feel like I wake up and I love what I do. I love who I serve, that I love my kids. I love my husband. Like, it's not to say that like every single thing in my day, in my life, in my day is roses. But again, it's about recovery time and that ability to be like, yeah, not ideal, this isn't great, not loving this. But you know what? I have these 100 other amazing things to focus on in my life. I'm not going to let that like ruin my day, my week, whatever. So are you interested in more clarity in your purpose? Like, that's what it comes down to. You need to have crystal clear clarity in what your purpose is. What's your jam? What lights you up? What do you want to do? And then who do you need to be able to do that in the long run, and not just like for another year, but for another 40 years, right? Not to say you need to be working for another 40 years, but like you want to be contributing to this amazing planet. So are you maybe also, or maybe this is another angle, are you interested in feeling deeper feelings? So I highly recommend, if you haven't already seen it or read it, there's a new book called Dopamine Nation by Dr. Anna Lembick. And this book is really revolutionary on 3 fronts. One, Dr. Lembick, I should say, I believe she's at Stanford, weaves her own personal deficiencies and the ways that she's addicted to more dopamine in her system, as we all are, which is the other whole point of the book. We like to talk about people being, we like to talk about addicts like they're this, certain subset category of society. And no, in this day and age, this is her main thesis of the book, is we have become unable, we're like constantly avoiding pain. I mean, she does give some examples that there are subsets, people like thrill seekers or marathonists that actually they seek pain because when you experience pain in the body, there's an influx of pleasure. It's like the endorphins. So we either live our lives totally avoiding pain, like I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling bored, I'm feeling uncertain, social media, Netflix, wine, coffee date, doing whatever I have to do to like not face the pain. But if we increase our capacity to actually just sit in our pain and our discomfort sometimes, like look our deep, dark secrets, desires, the shadows, the stuff that we just don't want to admit or deal with, you start getting a lot better at embracing that part of you and actually feeling the pain, the sadness, the loss, all of those things. You get more, you increase your ability for pleasure on the opposite side. So it's a continuum. It's not a one or the other, like it's a spectrum, right? So the more pain you feel, and then, those of us who had natural childbirth, like myself, it's, like it's the biggest high of your life for the level of pain. And that's how you should like think of, it's like, I want to have the capacity to do harder things and be real and experience the darkness of life as much so that I can experience even more joy, even more awe, even more curiosity, gratitude, pleasure about the simplest things in life. Because if you only focus your attention on numbing out the pain, the negative, then you stop getting excited about just the everyday life, the awe of nature, of the absolute adorable face of your child. The littlest, simplest things become less pleasurable. So read that book, totally recommend it. And are you interested in realigning your work with your values? So for me, I had multiple shifts in career, and I would argue for many years I wouldn't even have classified myself as having a career, because that's how dramatically I kind of just bounced around. But looking back now with a more intact, more abundant mindset, I see that everything was building on where I am today. I am now this extremely intuitive, compassionate coach, very good at holding space for people. And it's because I've had so many experiences. I've lived through a lot. I'm really good at reading people, and I'm able to hold space for them so they feel seen, heard, and understood in ways they haven't maybe ever or in many, many years. And that allows them space to make better decisions for themselves. And ultimately, making those decisions, they become more aligned with what their values are, clarity in their purpose, and all of that rolls out to more confidence. You have more confidence in who you are, what you stand for, what you're going to tolerate, what you want to do with your time, what you're going to use your energy on. And that kind of confidence exudes, you freaking glow. That confidence exudes out of your skin. And, at the beginning, it might trigger people. Some people, I know when I tended in the beginning, when I started to follow high level coaches, and I just had all of this negative, because I used to be a lot more negative. I was negative about everything. And I would just tear down those women because they triggered me, because I didn't understand how they could actually feel that amazing about themselves. I thought it was an act, or I thought it was temporary, or I thought they were just selling things. I didn't really buy into the fact that you could actually feel that unapologetically amazing and love yourself and completely accept yourself and not need to numb. All those things, I just didn't buy into it based on where I was in my own life. So that's one thing that this type of work really is powerful for, to become more aligned with what are you doing with your life? Is your career really aligned with your values? Are you feeling satisfied? Maybe not on a daily basis, but the big picture, you see that you're making an impact in a way that is important to you. And it doesn't have to be macro. It can be very micro. In fact, my story, this is intuition insight I had, in my 20s that, well, I guess by the time I was 30, I thought I wanted to work in the non-for-profit industry. And I quickly got a sense of disappointment. I felt diminished because I saw all the people, it seemed at least, like all the people that had the types of jobs I wanted had a lot more life experience, like they'd gone to Africa for a year and they've built wells and I felt like, okay, that's not me. And nor am I really, really excited to go live in Africa for a year. I do want to travel. It just felt like that. I'm sorry, side tangent, but quickly say, I also saw that in the non-for-profit industry, I was deflated because one, those big non-for-profits work more like companies than I thought they would have. And that there was just like, it was very hard to see the transparency in some places. There's just like a lot of money spent on administration. And like, that's essentially what I was going for. I wanted to be in those jobs that paid, a decent wage, not like hundreds of thousands of dollars. Anyway, long story short, it became clear to me that that's not what I really want. And I find at the time I got certified as a yoga teacher to do that as a side gig. And I saw that the impact that I had with the individual was so much more meaningful for me, that it was so much, I felt that I was having an impact on the world instead of trying to solve these giant structural, political, global problems. I was always going to feel less than in that scenario. It was not going to be that satisfying to me. I was just going to get more depressed. And so I consciously and unconsciously made that decision to bow out of that goal and come into a new mindset, a new view, and a new perspective that my values align more with helping people one-on-one. So another thing you can ask yourself is, are you interested in feeling more appreciated and acknowledged in this world or in your work, in your family, for what you have to offer, for your unique perspective? Like, essentially, are you this freaking unicorn trying to fit into a 9-to-5 box? This is something that this kind of work of peeling back the layers is really going to help you with, to see, is it like, maybe you are supposed to be in a 9-to-5 box. There's absolutely nothing wrong with living the 9-to-5 box life. People find meaning in all different places, but maybe you're very clear, or, you've been thinking about it for a long time, that you're just not satisfied with that structure, with the way that you're treated, with the way that you're acknowledged or not acknowledged, and that there's no real space for your unique perspective and approach to really be valued. And therein lies the reality that 60% of the US workforce is going to be working for themselves by 2050. So just think about that for a minute. So here's a little bit of insight on how I have worked on my personal magnetic energy to be more comfortable and confident in my own skin. Layers and layers of wellness and mindset shifts that I have made over the last 4, 5, maybe 6 years in some, but let's keep it at 4 to be completely certain. Number 1, I no longer stress about what I'm eating. That's for me, intuitive eating. Sometimes I eat what I enjoy because even though it doesn't make me feel fabulous, like gooey, delicious chocolate chip cookies, or, just regular pizza, pepperoni pizza. But most of the time I eat what I enjoy that also makes me feel healthy in mind, body, and soul. Vegan tacos, salads, smoothie bowls, fresh fruit, vegan soups at this time of year. Number 2, I deeply love and accept myself physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. #Flossom. Number 3, I work out because I love my body and its ability, its potential, its strength, its beauty, its curves, not because I hate my body. Number 4, I seek power through reframe and wisdom of my deepest, darkest thoughts and experiences. Everything can be transmuted to be powerful, to move forward, to provide you a life lesson that you can then, what's the phrase? Pass forward. That's not it, but like you can make that into a way that you can help other people that aren't with where you are in terms of reframing and perspective. Number 5, I believe, I have tools to help me stay abundant in mindset. Like I said, it's not a one and done. It is a practice. And therefore, I do not let fear fog my perspective, my goals, my actions. Number 6, I have increased my capacity to hold space for myself and others in a wide spectrum of emotions and feelings. It is not always about being positive. This is so important that we understand this. We've got this like, oh, high vibes, be positive. I'm like, you can't just be positive. You got to deal with the mud. Remember, the lotus grows in the mud, and you can't be afraid to be down in the mud and know and be really aware, what is your mud made out of? And it's more about being present and real AF, right? Real AF. Number 7, I seek clarity, not numbness like I did for decades. So those are some of the layers that I have been working on over the last 4 years. And so I have processed food toxins layer removed, default victim mentality layer removed, alcoholism, which would include shame, guilt, self-loathing, actual negative effects of all the toxins on my system, layer removed, self-judgment layer removed, self-doubt layer managed, self-love layer added, abundant mindset added, radical self-acceptance and honesty with myself and my loved ones added. So this is how you become magnetic. This is how you have magnetic energy. It's about 100% full on acceptance of who you are physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So one last time, I will quickly mention, if any of this resonates with you, these are all things that we work on in Align and Shine. We start next week with a mind, body, spirit detox that will transform how you look and feel when you look at yourself in the mirror. We do literally like a physical detox for you decide like what you actually want to detox. I am an expert in detox. So, you don't have to do full on raw vegan. There's all sorts of levels. Some people just detox alcohol for 20 days. Some people do dairy. Some people do gluten. It really boils down to what do you feel like might be really affecting you, mind, body, spirit, in a way that you hadn't considered before. And it's just a really nice way to go through it as a group. You get to reflect on how the thing, or maybe you're detoxing Netflix. Like it doesn't have to be anything to do with what you're eating or drinking, but it's about going through the process to build awareness, because that is the first step in coming to accept and love radical honesty with yourself. Is you have to be aware of what you're doing and what is the relationship with what you're doing to how you feel and show up. So if you are ready, we start next week. Align and Shine embodiment, monthly group calls, bi-weekly group calls with an incredible guest expert, and monthly one-on-one calls with yours truly. You are going to embody empowerment, confidence, and magnetism on a cellular level. You're going to learn all the mindset and wellness tools that best serve you, because no two people are alike. Therefore, no two wellness lifestyles should be alike. So I will leave it at that. If you are game, to get yourself back on track or really on a new path to feeling in alignment and shining once and for all, do get in touch. I will always happy to jump on a quick call and see if it's in alignment with you. If you're feeling called, please connect with me. Again, you can do that through my website, meganswanwellness.com, or I'm always on the gram at Megan Swan Wellness. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a beautiful week wherever you are in the world. Bye for now, my loves.